beautiful friends. I hope you're all doing incredibly well. I'm just out here enjoying a beautiful Sunday afternoon. I had a pretty late start to the morning. I really just needed to take a day to relax. I'm really bad at relaxing. I always feel the need to be productive and get stuff done, so I tried to fulfill that a little bit today by doing some dishes and fixing my vacuum cleaner. But now I'm just sitting outside underneath our big oak tree, hoping that I'm not disturbing any kind of wildlife that's gonna try to sting or bite me. I wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for all the love that I got on my last video. I was not expecting that at all, like truly at all. So I'm just so grateful for all of you and all of the new people that have joined since then. And beforehand, when I first started YouTube, I would always feel like such a failure if I didn't get like 100 views on a video within a few days. I've kind of let go of that mindset, so it was kind of funny waking up to that video having like thousands of views, and I was like, oh, cool. Anyway, it just didn't really faze me, so I think I'm in a good place right now, just social media in general, where it's like not, like the numbers just don't have that big of an impact on me anymore, which is really cool because now I just feel like I can be more casual in myself with it. Like I said in that video, I am not an influencer, I'm not a professional YouTuber, I just do this for fun. Like obviously very casual, you know, no makeup. I showered this morning, put a flowy dress on, and put my hair up in a messy bun, which I like never do, so I'm just trying to be casual and just go with the flow. Now if you're new here, as I said in my last video, I am a little controversial in the sense that I've kind of come to realize the fact that no matter what I do, somebody's gonna have a problem with it. Like in the secular world, people have a problem with me because of my Christian values, and in the Christian world, people have a problem with me because I maybe see things differently than they do. And we're all on our different journey, you know, like in my last video, the living room one, you know, it's a living room makeover, and I just happened to get accused of witchcraft. You know, so it's like no matter what, I'm gonna get hate from somebody somewhere. I'm not at all surprised that it was from Christians, sadly, as bad as that sounds, but you know, the way it is sometimes. I just wanted to come on here and say thank you and welcome, and I am a little different, I do things a little differently. Anyway, that is one heck of an intro. So I'm just doing this reading vlog. I haven't done one in like 4 months, I think. I am reading a very exciting book, Anne of Green Gables. I'm so excited, and look how beautiful this edition is. Isn't it so pretty? I got it for my birthday, I think last year, from my friend Megan, and I just love it so much. It's so beautiful. Anything vintagey style just immediately brings my heart happiness. So this is a collector's edition, but I'm still going to be annotating it. So I've made it to chapter 12, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if Anne of Green Gables is considered a classic or not. I feel like it is. Maybe it's not, I don't know. But technically, if it is, this is my first classic, and I was not expecting it to be as drawing as it is, I guess. Because I feel like most people, myself included, when they think of classics, they think it's gonna be really boring. But this is not at all. Like Anne's character truly is like out there and very outgoing and very lovely, and I'm just living for it right now. I haven't seen any of the movies, but I have seen the Netflix show, the Anne with an E, I think it's called, and I thought it was okay. I didn't love it, mostly because I feel like they involved a lot of modern themes. I'm starting to realize now why some people had an issue with it, because for some reason Anne is having like all these flashbacks to like her abuse and stuff in the orphanage, and I didn't know that that was like not a thing in the books. So as I'm reading, I'm like, oh yeah, the show definitely is a little bit darker than the book, it seems. But I'm really enjoying it a lot so far. I'm loving all of the quotes, and I didn't realize that the show really is like based on the book pretty dang closely, like a lot of the same lines. Like I didn't realize that it was the same exact storyline. I thought it was just like with the same characters. So I'm really enjoying that aspect because I love being able to accurately see in my head what I'm reading. Really, I'm just loving it. I'm loving it so much. Thank God, because I was very nervous about not loving it. So anyway, I'm out here enjoying the day. I think it's like mid-high 70s, which is a little much for me, but it's not too bad, especially being under the oak tree. So I think I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit and read, and then probably go chase down my chickens because I don't know where they went. It is the next day, Monday, and I've made a little bit more of a dent in here. Not anything outrageous because I kept getting really distracted. I made it to chapter 16 and I'm still just absolutely loving every second of this book. Again, not expecting to love it as much as I am, so that is always good. The only difference I've noticed so far with like the book and the show that I mentioned, and with an E, is with what happened with Marilla's amethyst brooch, and it was better in this one, I think. In the show it's a little bit more traumatic. Can you hear the thunder? It's storming so hard right now and I am loving every single second of it. Rain and thunder and lightning is just food and nourishment to my soul, and I'm so happy. Anyway, but yeah, that is the only difference I've noticed. I'm gonna put spoiler on the screen just in case you haven't seen the show and that's something that you want to watch later, so skip ahead to where this isn't on the screen if you don't want to know what happened in the show. In the show, Anne is accused of stealing Marilla's brooch and she sends Anne back to the orphanage. And in the book, that doesn't happen. She's just like punished and kept in her room and like not able to go to this picnic thing, which she ends up being able to go to anyway at the end because Marilla finds the brooch in her room. But in the show, Marilla sends her back to the orphanage, and then after she already sent her away, Marilla finds the brooch in her bedroom, like stuffed between the chair and the arms. It's a little bit more traumatic in the show, so that was very surprising, but I loved the book more in that sense, a little less like traumatizing for her. Oh, this rain is making me so happy. But I wanted to show you guys really I wanted to show you guys a very exciting package that I just got. I'm very pumped about it. I spent a little bit more than I usually ever would on something like this, but this was like a special kind of a bundle, so I wanted to hop on it because it's one of my favorite themes, which is being patriotic. US of A. I love this country. If you're again new here, I am a veteran. I was in the Army for 6 years and I've always just loved history, even though I think a lot of what we're taught in history class is not exactly accurate in my personal opinion. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I absolutely love history. I love the United States. I love America. With that said, I got this fun package from this company called, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, Cora Cree. Cora Cree crap. I found them on Instagram. That's what her little logo looks like. Packaging was super cute. It came in this fun like vintagey style wrapping, and this one that looks kind of like a map. Let me show you. These are stickers that came with it, and these are all based on the book that I will show you in just a moment, but I think that is just so pretty and so fun. I love it so much. These washi tapes, which are really fun, I use with my pen pals. Obviously, like I said, it's storming, so the light isn't super fabulous, but this is like handwriting and numbers. I don't really know how to describe it. And then this one is the American flag, and then when you open it, it will show like an outstretched eagle, bald eagle, which I absolutely love. We have them everywhere near our house because we don't live very far from a nature refuge and we live on the lake, so we see them all the time and it makes my soul so happy. I'm gonna move you. That's a lot better. I should have done that 5 minutes ago. Okay, and then the book. So it's called A Lady by Hannah Honegger, but the synopsis is really short, so I'll just read it to you. But it says, Mary Andre, sister to a prominent British officer, flees a despairing argument with her brother and loses her way, ending up in the enemy camp just as the American Revolution takes hold. Now Mary must make a powerful decision to become a member of George Washington's ring of spies or risk being discovered as the enemy. Mary's choice will affect the outcome of the war as well as unleash a series of consequences in her own life that she can't escape. Will she risk her own brother's life to save thousands of revolutionary soldiers? Could she turn the course of the war in the revolution's favor? Will she be able to face the consequences of falling in love? That sounds so fun! Like I said, big time patriot, and I just love that time period, and I'm just very excited to read it. I'm also a romance girly, so I'm really excited to like find out how that plays out. Aside from Half a Soul, I've never read like, I don't know if this would be considered Regency time frame, but like old-timey classic romance, I guess I should say. I've never really read one, so very much looking forward to that. I think I might save it for July next year. I don't want to because it's so pretty and I really really want to read the story, but I'm such a seasonal reader that I feel like I should wait until like a patriotic time to read it. So I feel like 4th of July makes the most sense with that. I also saw a really great idea on her Instagram about annotating your book like with these. So I think I might do that. I saw that she had on the inside of this area, she had put like the American flag up in this corner and like the word independence over here, like just all kinds of fun stuff. And then she used the washi tape on the inside of the cover and I just love it. And it really inspired me to start doing that because I do have a lot of washi tape and I'm such a ridiculous person in the sense of like when I have something that I really like, I like never use it because I feel like I'm gonna need it for a special occasion. And it just doesn't make any sense. I'm like that with my clothing, I'm like that with my stationery, I'm like that with like everything, and I need to get over it. And that's why I've been really passionate, like this year specifically, about romanticizing life and just like using the special occasion stuff. I'm trying to get better at it, so I do want to use like my washi tape and stuff that I have. So I think I might start annotating my book with some of that fun stuff because I have it. That's also why I've been trying to wear like dresses a lot more. I was thinking about doing a vlog later this summer, or maybe I'll do it in the fall, of like wearing dresses every day for a week or like dressing up every day for a week, whether it's like a skirt and a shirt or whatever. But I just really want to get better at doing that because I always feel so much better when I'm dressed up, especially dresses, and I really want to get in the habit of getting up earlier and just like getting my life together, you know what I mean? So maybe I'll do a vlog like that later on. It's ironic that I'm talking about this right now because I put my hair up like this yesterday afternoon and I haven't touched it since, and I was intending on getting up early this morning and showering and washing my hair and looking nice so I can continue this vlog, and then that just like ended up not happening. So I need to get better at that. Anyway, so yeah, I am going to continue reading this, and since it is a little bit stormy, it's the perfect reading weather, although I think the storm has kind of mostly passed. But I also have letters to catch up on. I haven't written anybody in a couple months now. Overall, really loving this so much, so grateful that I decided to pick it up. So grateful to my friend Megan for getting me this beautiful edition. So I will catch up with you guys either later today or tomorrow or whenever I'm hopefully a little bit more put together. Thursday evening and I haven't given an update in a day or two. He was cranky earlier and I think he feels bad about it. But Stephen is at D&D tonight, so I figured I would just pop in and give a little bit of an update. I made it to chapter 16. Also, that's a children's slide that we leaned up against our fence so that the chickens would stop running away. Oh my gosh, I just dropped my pen and I was really hoping it wasn't gonna drop through the boards. But I'm fairly close to being done. This is like a quick read, but I'm also trying to take my time with it a little bit because I'm loving it so much. I am very pleasantly surprised. My husband even noted about how it seems like anytime that I have a free moment, instead of picking up my phone, I'm picking this up. So that's definitely a win in my book. I did just read this quote the other day that I love that says, from Anne, "I think when I grow up, I'll be a trained nurse and go with the Red Crosses to the field of battle as a messenger of mercy." That just made me cry. I loved it so much. I'm just really loving the overall theme of gratitude. Like, Anne is just so grateful to be alive and to experience a new day without any mistakes or Octobers or a day that looks like God just made it for himself. And I'm loving it so much. I think the reason why everybody loves Anne of Green Gables, I mean, I can't imagine a person not liking the story, but I feel like the reason is because it reminds people of like the whimsy and beauty in life, and that everything is so special and wonderful, and to not take it for granted. And I just think it's so lovely. And I will say though that I am quite bothered about how much the show Anne with an E changed so many things. So I understand why so many people had an issue with that show. I'm now to that part in the book where it's like gotten off track with the show. I mean, vice versa, but you know what I mean. But up until Anne making her cake is when the show was pretty like spot on, which I find very ironic because it just happens to be the part where they introduce the pastor and the pastor's wife, and they're a huge part of the story, especially the wife with Anne, and it's not in the show. They just completely went with a different direction and didn't put them in at all. So that's interesting. I'm loving the part when Anne, I think she's talking to Marilla about this, but she had to talk with Mrs. Allen, who's the pastor's wife, and she's just so inspired and I'm loving it. She talked so nice about everything. I never knew before that religion was such a cheerful thing. I always thought it was kind of melancholy, but Mrs. Allen isn't, and I'd like to be a Christian if I could be one like her. And then Marilla kind of defends the other pastor that they had before, who was, Anne had mentioned it before, that he seems like he prays just out of duty and not like he really wants to. Of course he's good, agreed Anne, but he doesn't seem to get any comfort out of it, which is kind of an oxymoron because obviously we're not good. As Christians, we are not good people. That's why we're Christians, because Jesus is good and we are not. So I guess I kind of get the paradox there, but anyway. And then Anne goes on to say, I can just feel that she's glad she's a Christian and that she'd be one even if she could get to heaven without it. Like, that part made me cry too, because that's just so sweet. Like, and it just really has me thinking about how much of a representation we are as Christians about what Christianity is, which is ironic considering what I want to talk about in a minute. There's such a lot of different Annes in me. I sometimes think that is why I'm such a troublesome person. If I was just the one Anne, it would be ever so much more comfortable, but then it wouldn't be half so interesting. And I love that because if you've been here for a while, you know that I talk a lot about being multi-passionate and how I can't seem to fit myself into an aesthetic box. As much as I want to, I just can't. Ugh. And like, while some of that frustrates me because I'd like to be able to like know my style, or like, I don't know, I just love to be that cohesive aesthetic person, and I cannot be that person. But then, like she said, it also makes life so interesting, and that's so true. It does, because I'm so multi-passionate into different hobbies and aesthetics and styles and everything. So I admire the people though who can put themselves in that aesthetic box, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean like, you know your style and you know your thing, you know? I think that's admirable because I simply do not. All that to say, I really like that quote and I relate very much. But the other part too, the Christian part that I had mentioned, was it's just very ironic because I didn't vlog at all yesterday because I was feeling very down in the dumps. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know what I'm about to talk about, but I posted a story about this and I just got really brought down by a comment that I think I had already mentioned at the beginning of this video, about somebody in my living room makeover video saying that like I'm in bondage to witchcraft and I enjoy reading about that kind of stuff. And I was just like, what? No, that's not true at all. Like, what? And the reason why that comment got to me so much is because I haven't shared my testimony yet, but I know that a lot of you already know this, but like witchcraft was a huge part of my testimony. I was into witchcraft for a very long time, and it took a lot for me to get out of that and a lot for me to like fight through that. And it wasn't just like a willy-nilly like, oh, I'm a Christian now and I'm just gonna stop doing that. No, like I went through such hardcore spiritual warfare and mental challenges with it. I experienced sleep paralysis several times a week for years, and I was constantly under attack by things, and it was just like a really hard journey. And I've come so far, and I don't do witchcraft. So for somebody to like accuse me of that without having any grounds for that really hit me really deeply. And I sat on my couch and I cried yesterday because I was so upset about it, and it was just so like unnecessary. The hardest part about it too, besides it in and of itself, is the fact that it came from somebody with probably good intentions. Like I think it was an older lady, and she was like, I'm just trying to like, you know, share my wisdom as an older woman. And I'm like, okay, I get that, but like this was just really unnecessary for you to say, because one, you have no grounds to say what you just said, and two, if you were really concerned, you should have approached me privately and individually. And like, I don't know, it was just a really hard place to be, because you know that that person has like good intentions with what they're saying. Like they're just trying to say like, be careful with what you do, and like I get that, but like I just don't love unsolicited advice. But also that unsolicited advice coming from a place of judging me with no grounds for that. Like, why would you assume that I'm doing witchcraft and that I'm in bondage to witchcraft because I read secular books? Like, that's just, those things don't go hand in hand. So anyway, that is just coming to mind right now because of that quote about Anne being really inspired by Mrs. Allen, because she's a Christian and she loves being a Christian, and she's kind and she's just all around lovely, it seems. And I just really want to be that kind of Christian, you know? And I'm not all the time, and I will own that. And so just with Anne's inspiration of Mrs. Allen, it just has me thinking a lot about that kind of stuff. And I think that as believers, we need to really be careful in how we approach people, because there's already such like a negative view of Christians in the world right now, and a lot of it is understandable. I think just like Anne said, like I didn't realize that religion could be so cheerful, and it's true. And another word that has gotten a bad rap is religion, but honestly, let's just call it what it is. Christianity is a religion, and it's lovely and it's wonderful. I don't feel like I'm being held down, that my life is limited in any way because of that. I feel free in Jesus, and it's just been very inspiring to me to read this story in the sense of like wanting to be a better Christian to inspire other people, just like Anne was inspired by Mrs. Allen. And I'm actually also reading about this because I'm doing a study on Ephesians right now, which is my favorite book in the Bible, and it's talking right now, I think in chapter 3, about how we are an example to people. So yeah, all that to say, please be nice. Don't give out unsolicited advice in a rude manner. And like I said, if she had approached me privately, like emailed me or messaged me on Instagram or whatever, and been like, hey, you know, I'm just wondering like what your perspective is on the books that you have and like what you're into, because I just saw some books and I was kind of concerned about your interests, like that would have been great. I would have been so grateful, and I would have messaged her back and explained it and everything, you know, like where my mindset is and what my journey was, and you know, that would have been acceptable. But to just straight up be accused of something like that, it was just really hurtful. And I think that as Christians, when we approach people like that, we push people away instead of urging them into the arms of Jesus. That was a little bit of a rant, but I feel like it was necessary because I kind of went off on it on my Instagram yesterday and a little bit this morning. I was so grateful because after I posted all those stories yesterday, I was like, oh, I should just delete that. Like I sound so dramatic. Then I woke up this morning and I had like dozens of messages, and I was so grateful of people being like, what? And it was just amazing. So if you're one of those people, thank you so much. And I really love what one of the girls had said. She had messaged me and said, oh my gosh, like I'm so sorry that happened to you. And she was like, I think what people need to understand is that God's commands are black and white, but the way that we apply them to our lives is not. And we're all on different journeys, and we're going to have different convictions, and we need to stop expecting people to live according to our own convictions and where we are on our journey. She didn't say it exactly like that. I kind of put my own spin on it. Anyway, yeah, it was just really wonderful, and I love that message so much, and I'm so grateful that people have been so encouraging and loving on this journey with me, and it's just been wonderful. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now, but I should say that if you're not Christian, you are still more than welcome to be here. I'm so grateful for all of you, no matter what you believe. Yes, of course, I do hope that you come to Jesus, but if you don't, I still love you, and I'm encouraging you in this life regardless. So yes, thank you for being here. But regardless, I'm loving this book so much I can hardly even stand it. So yeah, I'm going to get to reading with my flowers next to me. I was so excited to pick my zinnias. I have never had a vase full of flowers that I grew myself before, and I've grown zinnias for the past 3 years, and I've never cut them and put them in a vase ever. I'm just one of those people that's like, I don't want to take it out of its natural environment. It's so beautiful, and then like half the flowers end up not blooming in there because they're being blocked by other flowers. This is my first time doing this, and I'm so happy about it. Obviously very amateur. This doesn't like look super great, but I don't care. I think they're cute. Hello friends! Maybe sitting out here was a bad idea. I'm getting eaten. And I'm also drinking my ginger peach sun tea that I made the other day. It is so delicious. I think the only thing I'll do differently next time is add some sugar into the container as it's steeping. I think if I just add sugar, it'll be better incorporated, but it is so good. This will be my final review because I finished this beauty yesterday and I love it so much. 5 out of 5 for sure. How could you possibly give it any lower? I don't even know. And I find it very funny that I think it was the last time I was talking to you guys, I was like, I'm so surprised pleasantly with how like on par the show was and how everything seemed to be like exactly what the show had shown. Literally right after I got done filming that clip, everything changed and it was absolutely nothing like the show after that. So if you are an oldies Anne of Green Gables fan of like the old shows and movies and stuff, just know that the show is significantly different and there was so much added into the show that wasn't in here. There was definitely a lot more Gilbert in the show for sure. I was really surprised that we didn't really get much of him in the book. In the show, he's kind of definitely one of the more main characters and we get a lot of his backstory with his father when he leaves school and things like that. But I don't know if maybe the show included other books and maybe that's why it's so different. Spoiler, if you have only seen the show and have not read the book, the ending devastated me with Matthew. That is not in the show. He does not die in the show and I was just not expecting Matthew to die in the book. I was devastated. I was crying. I was trying hard not to cry because my brother and Steven were sitting in the living room with me and they were having their own conversation. I'm like trying to keep my face turned away and I'm like I was so heartbroken, but I love the way that Anne talked about it and even the way Marilla talked about it. Oh gosh, this one sentence, it's gonna make me cry just saying it, but it's like right when he dies and it says, Anne looked at the still face and there beheld the seal of the great presence. Oh, like what a beautiful way to speak about death, honestly. The white majesty of death had fallen on him and set him apart as one crowned. Right before he died, he and Anne had a beautiful moment, where he said, Oh my gosh. Well, no, I guess it wasn't a boy that took the Avery Scholarship, was it? It was a girl, my girl that I'm proud of. Oh my gosh. But the way that she had talked to Mrs. Allen about Matthew passing just really moved my heart. I thought it was so beautiful. He's just away now, and he likes to know it just the same, that she laughs and is happy. I am sure we should not shut our hearts against the healing influences that nature offers us, but I can understand your feeling. I think we all experience the same thing. We resent the thought that anything can please when someone we love is no longer here to share the pleasure with us, and we almost feel as if we were unfaithful to our sorrow when we find our interest in life returning to us. And I really think that encapsulates a lot of the feelings that a lot of us have when we do lose somebody, is that we're like unfaithful to our sorrow. So I just really love the way that she said that. And then of course later on when Anne was talking about roses and moving the rose bush that Matthew loved, perhaps the soul of all those little white roses that he has loved so many summers were all there to meet him in heaven. And obviously, like I said, still devastated, but I love the way that it was at least talked about in the novel. And I really love the development of the relationship between Marilla and Anne, and how Marilla is more of like an unemotional, very stern kind of person, and Anne is kind of bringing out in her the more soft and pleasant side. Even though it was hard to like Marilla sometimes, I mean, I always loved Marilla, but there were sometimes I'm like, oh, Marilla, like just, you know. But it was really beautiful that there was a lot of development there. Marilla was so saddened that eventually Anne would be leaving Green Gables. It will make a bit of a difference where I go or how much I change outwardly. Oh my gosh. At heart, I shall always be your little Anne, who will love you and Matthew and dear Green Gables more and better every day of her life. And Matthew later talking about how it was Providence that they got Anne because the Almighty saw we needed her. I think one of the things that I love most about this book is the writing. Like I said before, older books, I just don't expect to really like them that much, even though I have a very limited experience. So I was very pleasantly surprised with how much I absolutely adored the writing in this book. Some of the way that she would just phrase things was just so stunning. The beautiful world of blossom and love and friendship had lost none of its power to please her fancy and thrill her heart, that life still called to her with many insistent voices. But of course, as I mentioned before, I love the overall theme of gratitude, and I feel like that's what makes Anne such a lovable character, is her gratitude in life. Dear old world, she murmured, you are very lovely and I'm glad to be alive in you. Gosh, I'm such a basket case. And then of course the last sentence in the book, which I won't spoil for you guys, but I just think it is so beautiful and lovely. So yeah, overall, like I said, I just love it because of Anne's character, the writing, the unique story. And I think also I forgot to mention before that I actually had recently learned from my grandmother when she was visiting from California that we actually have ancestors that come from Nova Scotia. So I think that's also kind of what drew my interest in the story a little bit more, because they are in that kind of area of Canada. But it was my great-great-grandmother is from Nova Scotia, I guess, and I think she either came from either Scotland or Ireland. I'm not totally sure. I know that her husband, my great-great-grandfather, is from Poland. That just kind of sparked a new level of interest for me with the book. I'm so glad that I read this. I do wish I would have read it years ago when I was a child or a teenager. I feel like it really would have shifted my perspective with life and gratitude. By the time I finished this book, I was quite disappointed in the show. So I'm very excited to get to the other books and see if maybe the show drew from those books, or if they really just decided to stick to the book for the first few episodes and then just went off the rails by choice. So I'm really excited to get into the other books. Please let me know which one is your favorite and your thoughts on this book as well. I'm sure you probably all love it too. So anyway, thank you guys so very much for being here, but that'll be all for this video. I have picked up another book already and I don't know how I'm feeling about it, so we'll kind of see where that leads me, but I do plan on coming out with a recent reads video very soon, so feel free to stick around for that. Again, thank you so much for being here. I love you so dearly, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!